Welcome to Echo Storyline English. I hope you are doing well today. Tonight, we travel into one of the strangest and most disturbing mysteries in American history. A mystery that has remained unsolved for more than 400 years, and even today, nobody knows exactly what happened there. Imagine arriving at a village, only to discover that every person had vanished. No bodies, no signs of battle, no screams in the night, no final message, only empty homes, abandoned belongings, and silence. A silence so deep it still echoes across history today. And carved into wood was a single mysterious word: Croatoan. What that word truly meant would become one of history's greatest mysteries. Even now, historians, archaeologists, and researchers still argue about what truly happened there. Did the settlers starve? Were they attacked? Did they abandon the colony willingly? Or did something far darker happen inside the endless wilderness of the New World? Because what happened at Roanoke felt almost impossible. This is the story of the lost colony of Roanoke, one of the oldest unsolved mysteries in American history. And the deeper you enter this story, the stranger it becomes. To understand the mystery, we must travel back to the late 16th century. At that time, England was hungry for power. Across the oceans, the Spanish Empire controlled enormous wealth. Spanish ships carried gold, silver, and treasure across the Atlantic Ocean, and England watched carefully. The English wanted colonies of their own, new land, new resources, new opportunities, and perhaps most importantly, a chance to challenge Spain itself. So explorers began sailing westward into dangerous and unfamiliar waters. But the ocean itself was often deadly. The journey across the Atlantic was terrifying. Storms destroyed ships without warning. Food rotted inside barrels. Fresh water disappeared quickly. Disease spread through crowded cabins, and sailors often died before even seeing land. Some ships never returned at all. But despite the danger, people still volunteered to go, because the New World represented possibility, a fresh beginning, a chance to build a different future. In 1587, a group of English settlers arrived at Roanoke Island, located along the eastern coast of what is now the United States. The settlers included men, women, and children. Some were skilled workers, some were families, some dreamed of wealth, others simply wanted survival. Together, they hoped to build England's first permanent colony in America. But from the beginning, something about Roanoke felt ominous. The settlers struggled to grow food. The unfamiliar environment made farming difficult. Supplies disappeared quickly, and tensions with nearby Native American tribes sometimes became dangerous. The settlers were isolated, far from England, far from help, and surrounded by uncertainty. Every day became a fight for survival, and slowly, fear began spreading through the colony. Yet somehow, the colony endured. And then, something remarkable happened. A young woman named Eleanor Dare gave birth to a baby girl. The child was named Virginia Dare. She became the first English baby born in the Americas. For the settlers, her birth felt symbolic, a sign of hope, a sign that perhaps their colony truly had a future. But tragically, hope would not last for long, because Roanoke's greatest nightmare was only beginning. Perhaps one day, families would thrive there. Perhaps one day, cities would rise from the wilderness. For a brief moment, hope returned to Roanoke. But hope can disappear quickly. And soon, the colony's situation became desperate. Food was running low, tools were limited, and survival itself was becoming uncertain. Without outside help, many settlers feared they would not survive another year. So the governor of the colony, John White, made a painful decision. He would sail back to England to gather supplies and return as quickly as possible. At the time, it seemed like the colony's only chance. But fate intervened. Shortly after White arrived in England, war erupted between England and Spain. Suddenly, English ships were urgently needed for battle, and because of the war, White was unable to immediately return to Roanoke. Days passed, then weeks, then months. Eventually, months became years. Imagine the fear felt by the settlers left behind. Their governor was gone, supplies were disappearing, and every season brought new dangers: disease, starvation, isolation, and uncertainty. Some may have believed they had been abandoned forever, and somewhere in the wilderness surrounding them, danger waited silently. Finally, after 3 long years, John White managed to return to Roanoke Island in the year 1590, but the moment he arrived, something felt wrong. The settlement was silent. No voices, no movement, no children running between homes. The colony was completely deserted. Every house stood empty. Tools and belongings had been left behind. But strangely, there were no signs of violence, no burned buildings, no bodies, no graves. It was as if an entire community had simply disappeared, and what White discovered next would haunt history forever. He searched desperately for answers. Then, he discovered something strange. Carved into a wooden post was a single word: Croatoan. Nearby, the letters CRO had also been carved into a tree. At first, the message created confusion, but then White remembered something important. Before leaving England years earlier, he and the settlers had agreed upon a plan. If the colony ever moved, they would carve a message, showing where they had gone. And if they were in danger, they would carve a cross beside the message. But there was no cross, no warning, no clear sign of panic, which raised an even more frightening question. Did the settlers leave willingly, or had something prevented them from leaving any final explanation? Croatoan was the name of a nearby island. It was also the name of a Native American tribe, known to be friendlier toward the English settlers. Some historians believe the colonists may have joined them in order to survive. Perhaps they were absorbed into another community. Perhaps they abandoned the colony peacefully. But nobody knew for certain, and tragically, White could not continue searching for long. A powerful storm approached the coast. The seas became dangerous, and eventually, he was forced to leave Roanoke behind, forever. He never saw his daughter again. He never saw his granddaughter Virginia Dare again. Imagine carrying that pain for the rest of your life, knowing your family vanished, without explanation. Over the centuries, many theories emerged. Some historians believe the settlers slowly integrated with local Native American tribes. There are reports from later generations, describing tribes with unusual features: grey eyes, English-style names, and stories that sounded strangely familiar. Others believe disease or starvation destroyed the colony. Some researchers think conflict may have occurred secretly, leaving little evidence behind. And naturally, more mysterious theories also appeared. Ghost stories spread across the region. Legends grew larger with time. Some imagined curses, others imagined supernatural forces hidden in the wilderness. Because humans fear the unknown, and few things are more terrifying than people disappearing without a trace. Even today, modern archaeologists continue investigating Roanoke. Ancient artifacts have been uncovered. Old maps have been re-examined carefully. New discoveries occasionally provide fresh clues, but the complete truth remains hidden. And perhaps that is why the mystery still fascinates the world. Not because we know what happened, but because we do not. The lost colony of Roanoke became one of America's oldest unsolved mysteries. A village built with hope, swallowed by uncertainty. Families vanished. Dreams vanished. Answers vanished. And somewhere, within the forests and coastlines of the New World, the truth may still be waiting to be discovered. What do you think happened to the settlers of Roanoke? Did they survive? Did they become part of another community? Or did the wilderness consume them forever? Tell us your theory in the comments below, and subscribe to Echo Storyline English for more mysterious journeys through history in simple English. Thank you for listening, and we will meet again in the next story.